I would probably recommend leveraging social media, so leveraging Twitter, and then curating your Twitter to your professional interests. So following React and all the leading React developers, if you're into that. Following leading Python developers. If you're consuming courses on Udemy, like I follow all of the instructors on there. And then when I go to my Twitter feed, it's super curated. What I actually did when I came through the boot camp was I actually nuked all my social media. So I was following like music and pop culture and all this like stuff, and I really wanted to like get my mind into the software developer industry. So I completely unfollowed like everyone on Twitter. I actually deleted my Facebook account and like created a new one. And because it consumes your consciousness. So, you know, when you're going through your Twitter stream and all you're seeing is pop culture, that's where your mind's gonna be. If you're seeing React and Node, that's where your mind's gonna be. So I would recommend curating your social media feed so that it represents what you want to study.
That's an excellent point you made, because I moved from Facebook to LinkedIn. LinkedIn has an excellent feed. You follow leaders, industry leaders in certain topics. It's going to fill your social media with that, right? So that's a very good shift that you can try to make if you want to learn.
Just to add on to all of that, I would say also check out podcasts. So there's a couple that I follow. One specifically called, I think, Software Engineering Daily, where he interviews engineers for leadership from different companies like Facebook, or he'll interview someone who was like a founding person on React, or someone who was like a founder on some other technology. And it's set up in chunks where you'll see like a week is dedicated to AI, a week is dedicated to DevOps, a week is dedicated to this or that. And you get to hear all these different perspectives on like where the industry is going, in addition to where it's been. And it gives you that like introductory knowledge to like get you a little bit more up to speed on like what are current happenings in different areas. Another good one is, I think it's called Startup CTO, where it's interviews with CTOs, and they talk about like what their background was, like how did they get started in technology, what's a difficult project they had to deal with recently, what's a success that they're really proud of recently, and it gives you more perspective, and you can see more depth to people to understand like there's not one career path that's going to get you where you want to go. And it'll give you high-level info, but also like in-depth in some areas that'll help you explore what you might be interested in.
Definitely. Breaking into tech, another good one for you guys. It's a bunch of stories of people who broke into tech. There's one kid who he dropped out of high school when he was 16 years old, and now he works at Slack as an engineer. Super cool. He like dropped out of high school. I think he worked at Geek Squad for a little while, and then he had like another engineering job. He kind of learned to code, and now he's an engineer at Slack. So there's tons of stories out there where you're gonna hear. Dev Tips on YouTube. Dev Tips is super awesome. This guy, he does coding tutorials, but he actually got hired at Google. So if you watch his YouTube channel, in the first like season or whatever you want to call it, he's working at a digital agency, and he actually walks you through the interviewing process at Google. So he's on the phone with them. You hear his response. You don't hear the questions they're asking him, but you hear his responses to them, and you can kind of reverse engineer it. So that's another resource is YouTube. Again, curating your YouTube playlist to not be Beyonce and to be software engineers. I have a channel too. You should follow me.
Okay. What is it?
So you can just look up my name, Anthony Delgado. Just type it into YouTube and you'll find me. Name of the channel is Dev Hero, but just type in my name, Anthony Delgado. You'll find it. Pop up.